Welcome back to the channel. We're Fandom Fix. I'm Austin, and that's Roman. And today we're going to be talking about Marvel Studios' newest animated project, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This had just dropped on Disney Plus, and it is the first time that Marvel Studios has done really a feature-length TV show that's animated, other than What If. What If is more of like an anthology show. So this is the first time we're really getting kind of a Spider-Man animated series in a pretty long time, Roman. And this one's interesting because it takes place in an alternate universe from the main MCU timeline 616. And so today we're going to be talking about what are the things that we thought were good about this show, what are the things we thought were bad. There's a lot of controversy out there with this show and just the look of it and the characters and some of the weirdness that's going on here. So Roman, I'm going to kick it off to you. What did you like about it?
I actually liked this show a lot more than I thought I would. For one, based on the trailer, I didn't think I would like the animation style as much as I did. I will say that the animation was leaning on the side of comic book, but not as comic booky as, say, Into the Spider-Verse. That was kind of a 3D jumping out of the page of a comic book. But I did think that it fit, with style, since it is based on a comic books and, all that stuff. The style fit. I liked the characterization of Peter. And as we mentioned, this is in an alternate universe as to the MCU. But they took a lot of similarities from Tom Holland's Spider-Man and from Marissa Tomei's Aunt May visually, but also a lot of their characteristics. And I really enjoyed this. There were moments where I genuinely laughed, and I was worried that Disney would do what they've done with the last couple of things and pushed agenda over quality. And there were a few things here or there, but I was like, okay, this is the kind of animated show that we want to see. Spider-Man is a beloved character. I like the title of the show being Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And as we saw at the end of Tom Holland's No Way Home, where he was kind of going to go back into the world of being the neighborhood, vigilante. So this kind of takes that mantle, and we see him kind of taking care of Queens and Midtown and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, overall, I really, really liked it. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part of the first episode, really, is when they show him kind of going around Queens and helping people. And I think one of my favorite scenes is when that woman had stolen money from the pizza parlor and he decided to let her go because he was like, she's hard on her luck. She made a mistake. She wasn't really somebody that was truly like a villain. And so I thought that was pretty nice just to kind of show that characterization of Peter, really showing compassion towards people out there. But I agree with you. I think the animation is pretty unique. It's different than what we've seen before. And it does have that comic book feel to it. I do think there was times where the animation honestly looked flat, though. It didn't look as polished. And I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it definitely felt off at times, or like the people in the background kind of looked weird compared to Peter. Even Aunt May, honestly, her facial features were kind of not as polished to me as an animation style as Peter's and the rest of the characters. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. But it's unique seeing a different side of the Tom Holland Peter Parker, because, this is just another universe of like those same characters, but they all kind of follow different paths. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty interesting to me. Obviously we get to see that Norman Osborn is kind of the Tony Stark role in this, which begs the question, where's Green Goblin come into play in this and that kind of thing. And obviously they race swapped Norman Osborn in this. And so it's just a completely different characterization as a whole for this story. And one of the things that I loved, and we were talking about this, Roman, is that episode 1 ends with the same shot for shot scene as what was in Civil War when we were introduced to Peter Parker, right, and Tony Stark was in the apartment. But this time it was Norman Osborn standing there instead of Tony, and he offers the internship there. So what did you think of just that characterization there with those two characters?
Well, I did remember having that thought of like, I didn't straight up, as far as you, recognize it as a shot for shot recreation. But when we saw Aunt May sitting on the couch and be like, there's someone here to talk to you, I was like, is it going to be Tony? Is it going to be Tony? Is it going to be Tony? And then it was Norman. And then I will say, and it goes a step further into showing that Norman Osborn is going to be the Tony Stark character of this type of mentor of this world, when at the end of episode 2, Norman reveals that he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man because Peter left his first day at the internship to go deal with somebody who had started a fire, and he changed into his Spider-Man costume in the stairwell, and it was caught on security cameras. And so the very end of the second episode is Norman Osborn calling him into his office and saying, "So you're Spider-Man." And so
Right.
I'm really interested to see what if that's going to turn around. And then we also didn't get a lot about Harry in the first couple episodes. He's shown on the TV as like a celebrity almost. So I don't think he'll be like a student at the school. Like we've seen him in previous iterations as like a peer of Peter Parker's at school. So it'll be interesting to see how he's connected, if at all, to Harry Osborn in this one, or if Harry Osborn is the one that becomes Green Goblin, or if we even get far enough to see Green Goblin in this one. But the one call out that I had that I wasn't as big a fan of is being the script nerd that I am. This did fall more in line. It is rated TV PG, so there's going to be some cheesy stuff, but there were some things in the dialogue that I was like, that they're overdoing it, they're oversimplifying. Like Peter was talking to Lonnie, the football player, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't have practice today, so I'm going to get home a lot earlier than I thought I did, and I'm going to do a thing or two around the house." And I'm like, who talks like that? He's like 16 years old. And then the other qualm for me, just because I'm a nerd about this stuff, is there was a scene where Lonnie and Bale's high school is playing football, and Lonnie's supposedly supposed to be the quarterback at one point in the scene, but he's wearing the number 36, and that drove me crazy as a jersey number nerd. But that is neither here nor there, has nothing to do with anything. It was just something that scratched the inside of my brain, and I didn't like it. Yeah. But my only qualm, I think, was the dialogue, and there were moments. This is rated TV PG, and I'm not trying to be a prude or anything, but there was instances of language in the show for a show that's supposed to be rated TV PG. So I wasn't thrilled with that. But as I said, overall, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm optimistic.
Yeah, some of the things that I wasn't a fan of the show was honestly just some of the characterizations. I think the biggest one that bothered me was Kurt Connors not being Kurt Connors. It was Carla Connors.
Carla Connors.
And I know that's kind of blown up on the internet about people complaining about that, but it's not even like, you could nitpick and give reasons why people don't like that, obviously with the gender and the race swap. Right. But Kurt Connors is an established character that has a specific type of mentorship role with Peter, and having that male to male, like that older male to younger male scientist relationship, that's what made that so special. And I think that's what makes it even more tragic to when he becomes the Lizard, and you have kind of that wrestling that Peter has as Spider-Man trying to stop him. And so I wasn't a huge fan of that either. I also didn't think that being an animated show, the characterizations aren't fleshed out as much,
Right.
And maybe we'll get more.
Because only 20, 30
first
minutes.
2 episodes, clearly. Yeah. And maybe we already have an established thing with Peter, and so we kind of already know who he is. But I think the biggest draws for me for this episode was I was shocked that Doctor Strange showed up in the beginning with like fighting another Venom. And I really like that. And I like that they changed the way that the spider happened, that it was another universe spider, because we've seen that before kind of with Into the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. But before that, we've always had the same type of story over and over. And I actually like that we're continuing this whole idea of an actual young kid who is nerdy, who's playing Peter Parker, versus what we got in the live action movies where people like Tobey Maguire did not look the part.
And I thought Andrew Garfield looked too cool, like in his iteration. Right. Like I've always said that like I felt like Tobey Maguire played a good Peter Parker, but he was a weird Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Andrew played a good Spider-Man, but was a weird Peter Parker because he was too cool looking. Yeah. And then Tom kind of bridged that gap.
Yeah.
So this for the Peter Parker versus Spider-Man in this, I felt like I was watching an animated young Tobey, and for Peter, and an animated young Andrew for Spidey.
Yeah. I mean, I always said that Tom Holland was a good mix between the two.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, overall, I think this show has potential. I'm going to continue watching it. I do think it's a good time to watch. I think the theme song is actually a lot of fun. It has that old school vibe kind of with the rap. And I love that old Spidey theme song. And just some other honorable mentions. I really like seeing the Avengers Tower in the background. And then I also like seeing an Iron Man, kind of hanging from the mirror of Aunt May's car. That was cool. So they're establishing that these people are in the universe. Captain America is in that photo with Norman Osborn. So I think down the road of this show, we're going to see those characters come into play, and Peter's probably still going to become part of the Avengers.
And at one point, you hear, I think it was Whitman, the teaching instructor at Oscorp. I think it was him that Peter tried to get ahead of himself, and he's like, "Take it easy there, Hawkeye." Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, we're just calling out everybody now.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to get more cameos in this show for sure. But well, we would love to know what you think of this show. Did you like it? Do you think it lives up to the Spider-Man name? With so many iterations out there, it's kind of hard not to have high expectations for a new Spider-Man project. So please let us know what you think down below in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video from us. But until next time, we're Phantom Fix. See you.